Hello all, welcome to the Unplayable Podcast. Back in the studio for this week, Josh Schonafinger joined by Kane Richardson. Richo, welcome back. How's your week been?
Yeah, good to be back. Managed workloads last week, so needed a rest. But yeah, good to be back. And yeah, week's been good. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Just before we get started, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast is being recorded. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Richo, there has been a lot of cricket happen and a lot of exciting cricket happen over the last little bit. Let's start with your weekly winner.
I want to start with your weekly winner because I feel like it's always me first. I want to hear yours first this week.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with mine.
Okay.
The weekly winner is handshakes. They're back in fashion because last week there was a bit of controversy over the whole finishing a game and that sort of thing. But after the finish at the Oval, there were people shaking hands. We had Anthony Albanese shaking hands at the Garma Fest this week. And then, even Donald Trump shaking hands with Scottish caddies. So lots of handshakes this week. It's good to have them back.
Well, they went out of vogue for a while with COVID, didn't they?
That's true.
The fist bump and the elbow bump. So finally handshakes are back. They're happy. They're around. There was a lot of hugging going on at the Oval too.
That's
it's amazing
true,
when a series finishes how tired everyone becomes. So my weekly winner's just off the back of that, but I'll keep it on field. And Siraj for me, Mohammad Siraj. That test, amazing viewing. The close of that day's play, or that morning's play of that test. Career best haul for him, 9 wickets. Bumrah not playing the last test. He stepped up magnificently. Some amazing footage of that, which I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, probably a more worthy weekly winner than a handshake. But I'll leave that up to everyone else to decide.
Well, let's roll into that match then because, yeah, as you said, it was an unbelievable finish. England needed 374 to win the test and the series, and they got the equation down to 73 runs with 7 wickets in hand. Harry Brook and Joe Root were absolutely motoring along, and yet somehow Krishna and Siraj took the wickets, brought it down to a final day equation of 35 runs and 4 wickets, which was set up perfectly. You've got the extra added element of Chris Woakes potentially not going to be able to bat with his shoulder dislocation or whatever it was. And then he did walk out to bat, which was the most amazing spectacle and theatre. And you just told me before we started recording that he was going to bat left-handed if he had to face.
Well, that's what's been said. So I think if you think about it, if it's his left arm is basically, he can't move it. It's taped to his body. It's under a sweater. So you're getting that away from the ball as much as possible. So he's going to use his right arm as his top. I think that's, how it works. So, he was going to bat left-handed and try and keep him out. So, for him, that's a legacy enhancer, isn't it? Like you think over the years in Test cricket, and I was trying to think back, Graham Smith, I remember trying to save a test with the broken hand. I'm sure there's many, but even Rishabh Pant last test was batting with a broken foot or whatever, a fractured foot.
Nathan Lyon walking down the stairs at Lord's.
Yeah, with the calf. Justin Langer, remember Michael Kasprowicz a few weeks ago mentioned that test match he was going to, he padded up as if he was going to bat with concussion, that's crazy. That wouldn't happen now. But yeah, those things are folklore in Test cricket. And for Chris Woakes, that'll be mentioned now for every time his name is mentioned. Incredible bravery. But yeah, in terms of Test cricket, and it's funny in England, they've moved into the 100 overnight, but what a spectacle that is for the Test game. And there's been dialogue for, countless number of years. Where's Test cricket heading? What's its identity? But I think that, again, just encapsulates how good a format it is. And, I mean, when you get teams of this stature playing, and we've got the Ashes on the horizon, but it just shows how passionate people are about Test cricket and how much people care about playing for their country. So, yeah, an incredible series. Siraj, the weekly winner, but also India's closest margin of victory in Test matches. Wow. You think of the amount of Test matches they play, that's an incredible achievement. So, it's almost a shame that it's ended 2-2. You should almost put another test on just to try and get a winner. But, great stuff. Can never be a bad thing, England losing with the Ashes on the horizon as well. So, amazing viewing and, so much to talk about out of it.
And, of course, with the series finishing 2-2, India held the trophy from the previous series, so they get to continue and to hold the Anderson Tendulkar trophy. So they'll be stoked with that. The Australia, they play this weekend. August 10, they start their T20 series against South Africa in Darwin. And, let's have a little talk about this series because they've both been coming off some T20 cricket themselves. And Australia obviously had that impressive clean sweep of the West Indies, and now they face what's looking like a pretty strong South African team, albeit without the likes of David Miller or Heinrich Klaassen or even Marco Jansen.
Yeah, so there's a few guys out, but they've named basically everyone else who's available at full strength. So there's no rest for the Aussies. I know they only got back into the country a few days ago. Their journey home was an absolute nightmare. I think it took 2 days or 3 days to get home. So the admin haven't looked after them there, but I'm sure once they get up to Darwin and get acclimatised to the conditions there, they'll be looking forward to a great series. It's going to be awesome for the locals. I've spoken about that before, but to have content up there for the kids up there to see their heroes in the flesh. And yeah, South Africa are definitely going to be up for it. Bragging rights after the World Test Championship. I know it's a different format, but any time you, again, put two really proud countries up against each other, that they won't take a backward step. There's a T20 World Cup on the horizon. So much cricket to play for. So it'll be really good viewing, and it's always nice to have cricket in the country in August. So something for everyone to watch.
And these Proteas, well, they made the T20 World Cup final last year. They narrowly lost to India. So this is another really good litmus test for this Aussie side as they build towards the next T20 World Cup, of course. And they've got almost their full strength side in as well, you'd say, Australia, minus the Mitchell Starks and the Pat Cummins. Travis Head and Josh Hazelwood return. So it's looking like a pretty good contest.
Yeah, well, yeah, apart from those two for Australia, it's basically full strength. And anytime you can test bench strength before a World Cup as well, like we've spoken about with Ben Dwarshuis and the guys who are kind of in that rung below those big guys, it's great to get an opportunity to keep pressing your claims. And some of those guys have put performances on the board in the last series and ones prior to that. Mitch Owen, his name keeps getting thrown about, and now he's in the one-day squad as well. So, his stocks are rising. So, yeah, it's great for everyone to play some cricket. I'm sure they'll rest and rotate the bowlers as much as they can with what's coming up on the calendar. But, I'm sure they'll all be hotly contested games. And as I said, good viewing for us to sit back and after a day on the couch and watch some cricket at night.
Things just going up and up for Mitch Owen. Obviously, IPL and Big Bash heroics, and now potentially a second international debut. It surprised me the other day when I had a look at how old he was. I assumed he might be 25 or 26. He's only 23.
Yeah.
So he's got the world at his feet. How much? Where is the limit for Mitch Owen?
Well, it's hard to say, because if he sat here a year ago, no one's talking about him, are they? Yeah. He's on the list, and he's probably trying to find his identity as a late innings all rounder and trying to make the best fist of that. So it's amazing how quick things can change on the back of a performance in a season or a series like the Big Bash, and all of a sudden the confidence skyrockets. Everyone around the world wants you to play for them, and then you just keep stringing performances together, and then all of a sudden you're doing it for Australia. So I guess the challenge is it can happen so quick in a good way. You don't want it to happen so quick as well in a bad way. So it's now just trying to stay consistent as possible. But I think he's shown that the package that he possesses, we've spoken about before, is going to be so valuable for any team that he plays for. So how does that translate to ODI cricket? It's now the challenge. And we've seen Australia pick, Tim David in the past, someone who plays a similar sort of role. And it didn't quite work out. So probably for Mitch, it's going to be finding, where does it fit in ODI cricket? You probably can't play the same way, and many have tried and failed. Chris Lynn is another one over the years, and that's where Glenn Maxwell, I probably think, is such a freak, where he's translated it. His strike rate in ODI cricket isn't far off his T20 one. So there's definitely cases there that he can try and look at and try and emulate. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, where will he bat? Will he open? Will he bat middle order? A few questions will be answered.
South Africa going to win any games, do you think, or another Aussie clean sweep on the cards?
Well, you'd have to say they will. 3 of each format? Yep. So, and as I said, I'm sure they'll be rotating and resting. But they're a strong cricketing country, and as we've said, they've basically got everyone available apart from those couple of names that haven't retired or are injured. So yeah, I'd back him in, definitely.
Okay. The Aussie women are also back in action very shortly. They've had a long layoff, and they haven't played since March, in fact. So they'll be rested and ready to go. They've got an Australia A series against India A that starts on Thursday, and there are some big names playing in that squad. I spoke to Laura Jolly, cricket.com.au's women's cricket editor, about that series and the upcoming ODI World Cup. All right, we're lucky to be joined by cricket.com.au's women's cricket editor and expert, Laura Jolly, ahead of the A series that Australia's women are playing against India A. LJ, it's been a while since we've had any women's cricket to talk about, so good to have you on board.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Hard to believe they haven't played since March, and we're in August now, so I'm looking forward to having some actual cricket to talk about.
Definitely. So this A series starts on Thursday. 3 T20s, 3 50-over games, and a 4-dayer. And there are some big names who are going to be involved. Tell us who's playing for the Aussies.
Yeah, so the big one is Elisa Healy is making her comeback from injury. She hasn't played since January or something, and she'll be part of the T20s and the one-dayers to give her a good block to build up for the World Cup. And then the other Australians who are fit and who aren't going to the 100, which is Talia McGrath, Kim Garth, Darcy Brown, and Tess Flintoff are also going to be involved in the one-dayers just to give them a chance to get ready for the World Cup, or in Tess's case, kind of push a case for selection. So really exciting to see big names involved.
Yeah, and as you say, lots of centrally contracted players. Good to see them back in action. But there are also some emerging players in that squad who've taken my eye. Who do you reckon we should be looking out for from the next set of players?
Yeah, so one player I'm really excited to see is Lucy Hamilton, who took that record 5 for 8 in the WBBL last season, but she's been on the Queensland list for 3 years, kind of as a part-time player, still in high school in Bundaberg, not training full-time. So now she's got her first full pre-season under her belt. So I'm really excited to see how she can do now that she's come on in real leaps and bounds, is what she says has happened this pre-season.
And she's a left arm quick as well, isn't she? They seem to be few and far between in the women's game, so good to have that option as well.
Yeah, I think having her and Cheadle in this squad will be really exciting for Australia. And, I think Lucy's got real all-round potential too, even though she'll probably be playing more as a bowler in this side. She was one of the key bats when she captained Australia's under-19s at the World Cup earlier this year as well.
Yeah, and one name I see there is Nicole Fulton with the VC next to her name as well. We know she's been around the periphery of the Aussie squad for her keeping, but obviously they rate her leadership as well.
Yeah, she's really exciting. So I think she and Talia McGrath and Talia Wilson are all going to sort of share captaincy duties throughout the tour. Initially, it would have been Charlie Knott leading the T20s in the 4-day game, but she got a late 100 call-up. So with her being out of action, it's really exciting to see Nick take the captaincy for the T20s to start off with. And I think it's going to be another step in that continuing keeper battle that's going on between the next generation of keepers. Nick Fulton's clearly the front runner at the moment after getting that call up for Australia earlier this year, but you've got Talia Wilson as well and Maddie Dark in that 4-day game.
Yeah, and we know how many runs Talia Wilson scored last year in the WNCL, so she's got lots of potential. So looking at these squads, we know how hard that Aussie squad has been to get into over the last, however many years. Are these truly the next in line, or are there some project players here as well?
I think there's a combination, definitely. You've got your Nicole Fultons, Talia Wilsons, Charlie Knott, had she been around, or would have been the next in line. But then, you've got some younger players in there too, people like Ella Hayward, a few of the less experienced players, Sienna Ginger. So it's really exciting to see them get a go as well, and I guess develop the team who will eventually take over from the ones who are dominating for Australia right now.
Now, we saw India A on our shores last year, and the Aussies, they thumped them. I think it was 6-1 across the 7 matches in that sort of series. Are they going to be a bit more competitive this year, do we think?
I think so. Sent a pretty strong squad over. I think the big name there is Shafali Verma across all formats. She's just had quite a good T20 series over in England, but still can't seem to crack their one-day side. Hasn't been included in that. So this is kind of her last chance to try and get into India's World Cup squad for a home World Cup. So she's going to have a major point to prove. And Radha Yadav, obviously an elite all-round cricketer who'll be captaining those sides. And you've got some other experienced players in there too, like Yastika Bhatia, plus some of the players like Minu Mani, who really dominated here last year.
Yeah, so quite a few names that we've seen in the WBBL. That's good for fans. Of course, all those matches will be streamed on cricket.com.au and the CA Live app if you want to check those out. LJ, you mentioned that ODI World Cup in India. That starts in only a couple of months. I think Australia's first game is October 1st. You're going to be there. We now know what Australia's fixtures look like. Do you want to give us the rundown and where the wins are, or maybe where the losses are?
Yeah, it's a very interesting schedule that's come out. I think there's been a lot of chat about it because India have spent a lot of their time playing in cities like Mumbai and Chennai in recent years, and they're not hosting any games. So there is a bunch of places on here like Indore and Vizag that haven't really hosted women's cricket before internationally, or if they have, it's been a really long time. So it's almost like India are at a little bit of a disadvantage there too because they haven't even played at these venues. So I know Australia are doing a ton of research into these grounds they're going to be playing at. They won't play at Bengaluru unless they make the finals, but that's another ground they're at least a little bit familiar with, having played some WPL there. And the other interesting one, of course, is that Sri Lanka's hosting loads of games as well, with Colombo playing host to Pakistan. So Australia have got 2 games over there against Pakistan and against Sri Lanka.
Okay, right. So a bit of country hopping for the Aussies. That's good. And did they also have a match right up in the mountains?
I don't think they do. Guwahati is hosting some matches, but Australia will only go there depending on which semi-final
okay.
they make if they qualify.
Great.
So, but a few interesting venues, a few new ones for Australia, so that's exciting. Lots of time in indoor, so I'm sure we'll all get pretty familiar with that venue.
Now, of the Aussie squad who we're expected to be announced, are there any injuries in this squad that we are a bit worried about at this stage?
Maybe not injuries, but the one name that has stood out to me is Sophie Molyneux, who underwent knee surgery in January and hasn't been named for this A series.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told she's still thought to be on track for the World Cup, but it is obviously a bit more touch and go than perhaps we thought if she's not ready for the A series, but in a month later could be ready for a World Cup.
Yeah, and there are a couple of warm-up matches against India in the lead up to this World Cup as well, aren't there?
Yeah, which is very handy for Australia, having not played for so long. They'll have the 3 ODIs against India and New Chandigarh and Delhi, and then a warm-up match at kind of secondary academy ground against England once they get down to Bengaluru as well.
Okay, so maybe a few chances for Molyneux to get some game time there before the real thing.
Yeah, I think she's going to be crucial for Australia, so they want her fit. She's such an important part of that spin attack. So hopefully she's going all well and will be there to join the others.
And you also mentioned it at the start, but bulk Aussies over at the 100 in England at the minute. I think there's Aussie women in just about every team. I'm just looking now, except for the Southern Braves. So really strong representation from Australia, as there always is. And I guess you'll be keeping a close eye on that competition as well.
Yeah, and I think I saw a photo of the Northern Superchargers with Sutherland and wherever that. They've got 3 Aussies in that team, so they've taken over. It is kind of very handy for Australia, given they haven't played cricket all winter, to have a competition like the 100 for so many of the players to go across and get a bit of cricket under their belts. It's been cool too. I've kept an eye on the Blast that just wrapped up, and a couple of the Aussies like Alana King and Grace Harris have been over in England for quite a while now, and they both dominated the Blast, so hopefully they can keep that form going in the 100 as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're looking for a side to pick, well, Birmingham Phoenix, they've got 3 Aussie women in Perry, Shoot and Vol. Northern Superchargers, as you said, they've got Litchfield, Sutherland and Wareham. And then the Trent Rockets, they've got Gardner, King and Graham. So lots and lots of Aussies to choose from there.
Yep, they're very, very popular. I am keen to see how Georgia Vol goes. I think she was the big winner at this year's 100 draft off the back of her debut Aussie Summer and then her WPL campaign. So hopefully she can deliver in the 100 as well.
LJ, thanks for the update. It's good to catch up with you, and we'll touch base with you again soon. Yeah, so a really stacked Australia A side there. Richo, as we said, you can watch those streams live on cricket.com.au and the CA Live app. I'm sure Alyssa Healy will be keen to get stuck into some Indian A bowlers.
Absolutely. It's extremely strong A team. Like it's been said, if you're not playing cricket over in the 100 or in England, what an amazing opportunity for these big names to play some A cricket, and makes all the competition better for the opposition and people in that same team. So, yeah, great stuff for everyone to tune in and watch.
And the 100 has just kicked off. So most of the Aussie side who aren't playing in the A Series are over there in England. Grace Harris started with 89 not out for the London Spirit, just defeating Meg Lanning's Oval Invincible. She got 85 off 51. So just another day at the office for Meg. In the men's opener, David Warner, he was playing for the London Spirit. They were all off 80 and they lost to the Oval Invincibles pretty comfortably. So that's the start. Are you a fan of the 100 competition, Richo?
Yeah, massive fan. I played 2 years, 22 and 23 with Birmingham, and it's almost my favourite foreign competition just purely because of the 100 format. I think it's great. Like as Australian audiences wouldn't be too aware of it because they wouldn't get to see it with the time zone difference, but there's just a few small changes that I think make the game flow a lot better and as players make it a lot more enjoyable, like 2 overs from the same end.
Yep.
So much less running and time wasted between overs. 5-ball overs, obviously, which is not a massive difference, but you can bowl 10 straight as well as a bowler. So
did you do that much?
Never did. No, I don't think I had the motor for that. And you have to be on a really strong heater to back up. So, but yeah, there's notable Aussies over there playing. Steve Smith being the biggest one who's not in this Australian series coming up. So it's good for him to play some more white ball cricket and press his claims to get back in that T20 team, but also for the English fans to see him. Hopefully they're nice and respectful of him. But yeah, even Justin Langer as a coach of the London Spirit, Ashton Turner, there's guys throughout. So yeah, keep an eye on that one closely.
So if you were in charge of cricket in Australia, would you try and see if there was a way to get a 100 competition happening down here?
Well, it doesn't have to be 100. You can keep it 120 balls, but I think like those small things like minimising the time wasted in between overs, I think it's good. It adds a tactic to the game as well. If you've got a short boundary to the leg side and there's 2 overs in a row, all of a sudden you might want to come back from the bar and sit down and watch, or you might want to get your chips while the 2 overs are going to the big boundary, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be some fascinating viewing. But even how players use their 10 balls, for example, if a really good bowler uses 10 balls, that's half of his work done. That's a massive part of the game. So, but it also gives guys a really important role. Like Daniel Worrell, I think he bowled 20 of the first 25 balls in a game. So he bowled 10. Wow. You can't bowl 15. So next guy bowled 5, and then he bowled his 10 again because he's a new ball bowler. So it's like all of a sudden guys have really clear defined roles because it is a shorter format. So I don't think it has to be 100 balls as such, but I'd like to see some innovation, especially with, these spring challenges or these games. Like there's a series up north where Big Bash teams are sending up some academy players. Like try certain things like that and see if we can keep evolving the game to be a little bit more efficient.
I like it. Okay.
Just an idea.
We need a few more formats, don't we, just to keep us entertained. So.
Something to talk about, keep us in a job.
So last week, Jack and I had a look at some of the players who we were identifying as this year's breakout players. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when you were on. We officially locked in ours. I'm sure you would have heard them, but in case any of the listeners didn't, Jack went for quite a few that you touched on the week before.
So are they mine or are they Jack's?
Well, maybe you want to double up.
Okay.
So he went for Marley Beardman, Callum Vidler, Lucy Hamilton, Campbell Callaway, and Charlie Knott. I locked in Liam Scott, Sophie Day, Caleb Jewell, Sienna Ginger, and Lachlan Hearn.
Okay.
So now we need to hear your 5 and who you're going to be committing to for the whole season.
Well, before I do that, so when you say a breakout contender, what are we judging it on? Are they breaking out in terms of playing for their state? They become a household name. Are they pushing to play for Australia? What?
Yeah.
What's your?
So my criteria would be that they have a season that puts them into the national selection reckoning.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yep. No, I agree with that. That's kind of how I was thinking about things. So I've said my 4.
Yep. Are you going to stick with those 4?
I'm sticking with them. So Buckingham from SA, Beardman from WA, Vidler, Queensland, Illingworth, Victoria, and my 5th is Jack Edwards from New South Wales.
Oh, right. Okay.
I just think...
Not exactly a new name.
Not a new name, and that's the thing. I think he's been around. I remember playing him probably 8 years ago, maybe when he was a real young kid. And I just feel the package, you look at Mitch Owen, that all of a sudden things just click and they're playing for Australia. I just think he's been around long enough now. He's had captaincy responsibilities. They've invested a lot in him in New South Wales. I feel like there's something there that's going to click this year.
Okay.
Just feel it.
And I think, has he been captaining as well? He's got certainly some leadership skills.
Yeah, well, I think with when Moses maybe got injured in Shield cricket, he's definitely done the one-day team, or it might be vice versa. I haven't checked that. But, yeah, definitely captain formats for New South Wales. So I just feel that whole package, there's something there. He played in the MLC, so he's had experience overseas, getting to that age now where we start to see people really click. So hopefully, Jack, if you're listening, let's get this done. So I look like I've got some pedigree in picking talent. But yeah, those 5 for me.
It's not funny. We've got a lot of pace bowling all-rounders in the country at the minute, when it seemed like for years and years you couldn't find any, but now there's just lots of options.
Sport for choice. And that, to be honest, is the one thing I did think when I feel like it's going to click, but then I'm like, wow, it's pretty hard to get in that Australian team though. Like with Cam Green, Mitch Marsh, Mitch Owen, all these guys have come out,
Bo
Webster, middle order players that bowl, but you can never have too many either, can you? No. So he'll be around the mark, I reckon.
But I guess if he does exactly what Bo did 2 years ago, then he's going to be in the conversation.
Well, yeah.
And that's a tick next to your name.
Well, exactly. So no pressure at all. Just put together a season that's only rivaled by Bo Webster and Garfield Sobers. But I think he's capable. I honestly do. I think, there's enough there that it's going to happen.
Okay, good stuff. We've locked them in. Good luck to all our contenders. And thank you for all your suggestions online. Some of the big fan nominations. Ollie Peake from Victoria, obviously young left-handed batter. He was a popular one. Harry Dixon, another Victorian. Lots of nominations for him. And Callum Vidler, who you guys have both nominated, the Queensland Quick. People can't wait to see more of him in action. And, he's fast, isn't he? He bowls really quick.
Yeah. But I think, again, when we're looking at cusp of national selection, I think those bowlers are going to get fast-track quicker than, say, an Ollie Peake or a Harry Dixon.
Yep.
Unless you're in the reckoning for an Australian opening batting position, I think it's going to be a lot harder for those guys to be pushing to play for Australia. Whereas the Vidlers and the Beardmans, I think they're the ones that we saw it with Josh Hazlewood when he was 19. Like if you've got this and Pat Cummins, Marley Beardman's been on a test, an ODI trip last year. So they've obviously earmarked him, and I just feel like, if you start the season well and you got that much talent and ability, I think they'll probably find a way to get you in.
Now, Richo, you're going to be back in action next week in the top End T20. That's taking place in Darwin from August 14 to 24. I want to talk to you about the competition. It's an 11-team competition which includes some names that we might be familiar with, like Adelaide Strikers, Hobart Hurricanes, Melbourne Renegades and Stars, and Perth, for example. And then there's the ACT side, there's the Northern Territory side, and then we've got some international teams, Pakistan A, Bangladesh A, Nepal, and new this year, the US Kingsmen. What are we expecting in this? It could be anything.
It's something for everyone, isn't it? It's growing every year. I think year one it was maybe 5 or 6 teams. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I went last year and it had grown more. I think Perth and Adelaide joined last year. And then all of a sudden, we've got teams from overseas coming, a team from the US, which I don't think anyone really knows what to expect there. But I'm sure I think it's the league below the MLC in their tier system. So I think they're professional cricketers in the sense that they play organised competitions and they're trying to get picked for the MLC team.
Right.
So and apparently they're like a super successful in that level that they play. So.
Okay.
Whenever you get overseas teams coming to these things, they're flying from the other side of the globe. They're going to be up for it. So it's going to be a really good blend of teams.
And you'll be representing the Northern Territory Strike.
The Strikers, the home team. So I get to pull back on the ochre and black, which I did as a kid. So that'll be great. But they've also got Jake Weatherald, so very topical name at the moment.
He's
so
killing it.
He'll be keen to keep making runs, any format. Darcy Short, international cricketer. Jordan Silk's been roped in. So
for the Northern Territory Strikers?
Well, so the Hobart Hurricanes are sending a team, and obviously Jordan's contracted with the Sixers, so he can't partake for the Hurricanes. So he's keen to play. Tassie want to get him playing. So
Great.
I think he's played some club cricket in Darwin before, so he qualifies. We'll have him. Tom Andrews, who's burst back into domestic cricket through the BBL. And then the names, Renegades, Will Sutherland, Josh Brown, Alex Ross for the Strikers, Sam Harper for the Stars, Nick Hobson for the Scorchers. So there's guys who play consistent BBL cricket. So, and then you throw in all those kids. I'm sure Ollie Peake will be around there, Kellaway. So there's guys that'll be keen to start the springboard into the domestic season really strongly.
And I see that Shane Jurgensen has been announced as your coach as well. He's had a lot of success with New Zealand teams over the past few years. Have you worked with him?
I actually haven't. I've come across him through just playing kind of those series against New Zealand and him being bowling coach. So, yeah, it's a great get. I guess it shows again that people are keen to be involved in this series in any way to kind of help these guys get ready for the domestic season. So I'm looking forward to working with him. Anytime you get an esteemed bowling coach as a head coach, I always tend to gel with bowling coaches a bit better than batting coaches. So looking forward to working with him. I've heard good things.
How's your preparation been? It's been a while since you've had a bowl.
Yeah, it's been not ideal in terms of what I would usually do for an international series or something like that, but it's kind of just do your best at the moment. So a few hard wicket bowls down at the local clubs, various local clubs up and down the coast, but it's been rather wet as well, so you can't push the run up too far onto the grass. So purely hard wicket, but yeah, I'll be right. I've been doing it long enough. It's like riding a bike, I think, hopefully.
I mean, there might be a few, bits of rust there. What about your sledging game? Do you think that's going to be rusty as well, or?
Well, I hope I don't have to use it. I hope I'm getting back into the game, so if I'm sledging, things aren't going to plan. It means I'm getting frustrated and resorting to things I don't want to do. So, but I'd like to think that's like a switch. You can flick that on whenever, whereas there's definitely going to be some rust ball out of the hand for sure.
Right, okay, because I actually decided to do some preparation for you. I asked AI to come up with some sledges for you just to make sure you're prepared. So let me know if you want to use any of these. Right. They're not copyright or anything, but they're not great either. So just
remember that.
So the first one that it came up was, if you keep batting like this, the only thing you'll be hitting is the showers. What do you think about that?
Nah, not great.
I've seen better footwork from a bloke trying to put out a bushfire with a thong. You probably don't want to go into the bushfire.
Nah, that doesn't make sense to me. Is he wearing thongs trying to put out the bushfire, or is he whacking it with his hand with a thong? Doesn't make sense.
No,
to me.
It doesn't. And the last one, which again, take this with a grain of salt. Your batting's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is stuck in first gear going uphill. So the analogies are a bit tangled there.
We'll work on them.
Yeah.
AI, it's new, ChatGPT, we're working through it. There's some teething issues there. So the cricket sledging side of things, obviously not too many people have tapped into it. Yeah. AI is not quite moving at the speed we need it to. So people out there, let's tap into that. Let's get these sledges improving. So no, I won't use those.
Okay. Put a line through them. Okay. Richo, good stuff, mate. All the best for your return to cricket. We'll touch base during the T20 series between Australia and South Africa, and catch you next week.
Well, same to you. You're heading up there for those, so I'm expecting a nice tan as well. Nice, get out of this winter weather. Enjoy that, and speak to you soon.
Thank you. Good stuff.